since Ben left, it hasn't been the same.
Nope.
So yeah, it was a great night. It was a great night.
Well, that's what we all had kind of been spoiled with Ben Roethlisberger and company. I mean,
Absolutely.
You looked at when he first came into the league,
none
we
of us
had
took that for granted. None of us took that for granted.
No, not absolutely. No, dude, I was there for his final home game at, I think, Heinz Field at the time. I don't think it was Acrisure Stadium yet, but at that time, yeah. I mean, this final at that point. Okay, it was, dude, there was not dry eye in the house in terms of, I thought it was just the greatest thing. It was like going to see Top Gun or some macho thing where it's like you would never think that grown men would be crying. Mm-hmm. And it's like, dude, that was like the thing I'll always remember, looking around my immediate seating area and just seeing like just nothing but the wash on the cheeks of every grown man in there, just knowing that this was a generation that will be defined like by that guy and what he had basically accomplished. He became the voice for the people of Pittsburgh. He was basically what we all always associate with Pittsburgh. Like, for not to steer off it, but with the Pirates right now in Pittsburgh, they have their closer, David Bednar. Do you know anything about him at all?
Yeah. Like, I follow the Pirates. I'm a Pirates fan.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not a
just saying, like, if you look at fan, right. So, like, David Bednar is like a stocky, like, he doesn't look like you're a typical baseball player. He looks something on the lines of a linebacker. And everyone always says, like, that guy, when you see how they look, like, that's how they look in Pittsburgh. That's what we represent. We're not some, slim looking, model dude, like, that likes to show off the tan line. No, we're burly. We like to look we have a little bit of a girth to it. And it's like that's what it is. Like, all these big stocky guys, like, they just always somehow represent Pittsburgh. And Ben, there was nothing stockier than that guy. Like, he was just a big old bear, with that beard. Like, it was a great overall look. It was like, that was the symbol for such a long time. And, again, when he left, it was definitely like, how can you even think of filling the shoes of that dude? And I remember when I saw Kenny Pickett for the first time, and I saw when we had drafted him, I just thought to myself, this guy does not look like a Pittsburgher. Like, he didn't. He did not have that kind of look. Like, he could fill out the uniform, but he could fill out the jersey, but it was just like, it never had that fit. And I'm not saying, like, listen, I'm not talking 5'10" Russell Wilson looks like a stocky guy by any means, but there is something to be said about how he conducts himself that it's like, yes, I feel like he has that kind of either swag or that type of presence about him that can carry on anywhere he goes. I'm not saying we can't say that he looks like the guys you look at when you think of Pittsburgh, but he definitely carries so much of his persona, like everything. His talent is always going to be there. Like, he carried it with him, thank goodness. When he came from the Broncos, Denver is a tough place to really be successful at. I give Peyton Manning a lot of crap because I think he's corny as heck. Between Colts and Denver, it's like he was able to be successful in both. That is not an easy thing to do. And his circumstances in Denver were kind of unfair in the sense, like, they were thrown Nathaniel Hackett, and everybody knows that was a bust. And that was like, what are you supposed to do with that? You are a great, talented dude, but man, he took some knots and put a bunch of random things together on that field. It's like not even Russell Wilson can untie that. So he was definitely lucky enough to get out of the situation and come over to black and gold into that beautiful city with all those bridges. And he just was able to say, I know what I'm capable of. And I know that this city and this team is basically success. They are winners. Mike Tomlin is the guy. It's like, he's a winner, on the regular season. He's a winner. He will get you at least to a playoff. He'll try everything to get you there. I mean, and the coaching staff, they stepped it up. I mean, between is it Terrell Austin, that's the defensive coach, and of course, Arthur Smith is the offense. I mean, those two losses, it's going to be a sting every time you bring it up because it's like, the Colts shouldn't have looked that elite, or the Cowboys should not have hung around like we let them. But again, you cannot be 17-0 in a season. It's just not attainable. So I knew we were going to lose some games, but it's, again, all about competition. And we have a game this week where it's like we have no reason to feel like we're going to have problems. And as long as we know that Russ can do what he did just the week ago, I feel like everything is going to be just fine for the Steelers going forward, going into the bye, getting some guys healthy for the Commanders. I'm not saying we look past the Giants to the Commanders, but dude, if Jaden Daniels plays in that game, bud, we're going to have a lot to talk about on that one because that's going to be a fun game to talk about. I mean, again, Daniel Jones, the poor guy, he has his situation and Giants and everything about them. I mean, that Neighbors kid, he is a phenomenal wide receiver. Again, they have a couple names on the defense. The Giants, if you give them another 2 or 3 seasons, they could probably be a team that could challenge the NFC East soon. But as of right now, this shouldn't be not a cakewalk, but it certainly should be a cupcake stroll. Like, I don't know if there's another. They definitely should be taking advantage of what is ahead of them this week, which is a very banged up team. Doesn't have a lot to show for it. So we should very well take care of business. And I'm going to put a score on this and say it's going to be like 31-10 at the best. Like, I mean, I'm being generous and probably giving them 10. That would be my score.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about a score. I don't know about. I wouldn't. Yeah. Score wise, I'm not sure, man. That's a good question. It's something I haven't even really thought about, but yeah, I would say that, yeah, that's probably a pretty good prediction. I mean, at this point, they've scored some points, but yeah, I'd say that's probably about where I'm at too. But yeah, I mean, this is a bad team they're going to play, and I don't even know if Daniel Jones is going to start. He was benched, like you mentioned, but yeah, they're just a horrible team, and it's Monday night. And this is why we got most of these primetime games, I believe, is because Russell Wilson's going to be our quarterback. So, but yeah. Jared, do you have any other predictions for the game? Anything you're looking out for?
They kept talking about us not getting a wide receiver 2. Like, the Cooper Kupp thing isn't happening because now the Rams beat the Vikings. And again, was that a shocker? A little bit, but the Vikings, they went on a really good run for the start of the season, and then they lost to the Lions. Really, really tough game. That was an amazing game to see. And then they lost to the Rams, but it was in Los Angeles. Any road test will put you kind of in that attitude of like, you could lose on the road. Any team can be, beaten on the road. So I feel like the Vikings, like, that was a pretty tough one for a team like the Rams to like figure it out. And because they got Puka and Cooper Kupp back, it's like, yeah, they look like a complete team again. I thought they were a 10-7 team, the Rams myself. So it's like, if they were healthy, they would probably be a much, much better team. And they showed that because they beat the Vikings pretty well. I mean, 30-20, I think was the final. So that's not happening with Cooper Kupp. And again, Tua's coming back for Miami, and they could go on a run for all we know. Because I was like, ooh, maybe like if we can get maybe like Waddle or something like that to compensate for Pickens, like that would be fun. I mean, could you imagine? Like, I think I heard a lot of ideas for the offseason that it's like maybe Justin Fields will go somewhere. We can like maybe trade him at the trade deadline for another wide receiver too. But the more I see it, dude, I'm I think that we are going to be sticking with Van Jefferson and Scotty Miller and Calvin Austin. I mean, I know they are nowhere near like the Cooper Kupps or Devontae Adams is in this NFL. So I mean, it's definitely something that could have been nice to solidify their insertion to the playoffs, but it's just like right now, Van Jefferson looked pretty solid. I liked his touchdown pass that he got from Russell. It was a fantastic route. Again, we don't know what this team can really be until we see at least 2 or 3 games of Russell Wilson's schemes and Arthur Smith's play calling. I mean, we definitely got a good taste of it. I mean, dang, I want more of it. I mean, give me that recipe off the menu every time I come to the Steelers restaurant. You know, that's what it is. Like, they are saying Russ is always cooking. I very much like all of the recipes I have so far tasted. So as long as you keep that in that menu, I mean, this will be an interesting second half for the Steelers for sure. Because, again, a guy like Russell Wilson, with his veteran leadership and his experience, you're talking about the AFC North now in that area of Lamar Jackson, who, yes, I will openly say I've been critical of this dude since he has arrived in the NFL. He is right now, to me, the MVP favorite. He is absolutely doing amazing things with his arms that I never thought he was able to do. So you have Lamar Jackson in the Ravens. You have, of course, Joe Burrow, who is like a silent assassin for the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, his ability to play quarterback is kind of filthy, where it's like when he turns it on, you ain't stopping him. I'm not saying he's Tom Brady-esque, but it's like he definitely likes to be the best quarterback in the game. And so now you have Russell Wilson. This is right now the most interesting second half coming up. Like, again, 2 games, all the games against the AFC North still. It's definitely going to set up some interesting storylines, and I am just all for what this team is going to be able to achieve once everything is healthy again with certain players. Like, again, when we get Zach Frazier back for the offensive line, I know we're missing a key defensive player. I know he'll be back soon. I'm blanking right now who it would be, but like there's all these names. It's like, okay, we're almost there. We're going to get Patterson healthy again too. It's like, so then you have 4 options for runners. I mean, between Fields and Patterson and Warren and Harris. I mean, it's definitely wonderful to see that anything can happen with what's about to come down in the next couple of weeks, a little bit of the months, but I'm definitely intrigued to know what more the schemes are going to be.
Yeah, Jared. I can only talk about this so much because I'm still way more of a college football guy. But I pretty much said all I can say, man. I'm happy with it going forward, and we'll see how it plays out. But what you said is true. I mean, it's going to be interesting going forward to see how it plays out, how it fits with Arthur Smith and Bruss and everybody combined. So, that's why I have you on here, man. You're really passionate about it. And I'm passionate about my team too, man, but I'm just more of a college football guy at this point in my life. I don't know why I've gravitated to that. I was always college football, but
Well, dude, I mean, the NFL is filled with college guys, so I mean that makes complete sense to me. That you can set it up, and I'll take care of the rest, going forward. I mean, listen, how many Penn State guys? I mean, Pat Freiermuth, Jesse James. Who did we just have? I'm so mad at myself. We had a wide receiver from Penn State. What was his name?
From Penn State?
Yes, we had him just last year. I'm so mad that I'm blanking on his name. Oh, he was with the Rams. He was Robinson. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we had Allen Robinson on the team for a little while. I mean, it's nice. I mean, we definitely have had our fair share of history of Penn State players just coming on the West Side and just going and playing for that great team and that great history. I mean, everything started really with Franco Harris and company. I mean, we all know that was like the most important player of that generation, and it just everything followed suit. I mean, Mean Joe Green came from that, and Terry came from that, and then eventually Lynn Swann and Stallworth. I mean, it was like we created something based off of these kinds of plays. And the Immaculate Reception, everyone knows about it. It's still being talked about over 50 years later. It's just awesome to know how much history is put into this particular brand. And you, again, with us, like being from, this area and growing up with Penn State, it's a really cool thing to see how much history is with all of us. I mean, we are definitely, I commend you guys for what you know on your side. Like Penn State, they are such an amazing historic team. I mean, for the last 50, 60 years plus, I mean, you have this whole season that we're watching right now. It's a great season to see. I mean, I'm so happy to see it.
Yeah, our football team, Jared, they've had 6 head coaches total in like 60 years.
Yeah. I mean, but right now you think about this season, like we're right now about to come in tonight against Wisconsin. I mean, I'm all for it, dude. I mean, it's a trap game. It is. Just do not sleep on this team. Like these next 2 weeks, I'm going to say it with this real quick. Wisconsin and Ohio State, their coaching staffs and their teams, they play complete games. What we did against USC, you cannot do against Wisconsin or Ohio State. You got to come out and answer everything they're going to give you. Because if they have a 20-6 lead, they ain't going to let go of that. They're Big Ten, dude. They know better. Like these Pac-12 teams coming into the Big Ten, they are just getting to understand that you can't do that. Like Oregon right now is absolutely a Big Ten team in disguise. Like they really are. Mm-hmm. They are insanely tough. So
they're beating up on Illinois right now.
It's embarrassing. I mean, I'm watching it right now. It's crazy. So you're certainly, but again, when I come to the Pittsburgh side of it all, like I can say that I started in the early 2000s, and when I watched Big Ben come in, I was like, all right, I know that I'm really going to enjoy watching a player like him, but little did we know that this dude would have like the best 5-year stretch of a young quarterback ever. And we are witnessing like the birth of a new defensive dynasty, like the 2000s, like the late 2000s, early 2010s, dude. I mean, it was like, we have our generation's version of the Steel Curtain. Like we did.
So good. We were so good. We beat so many good teams, man. That's what that stretch, man, was unbelievable. And Big Ben, the best rookie year of all time in the NFL of any player. He was. He didn't lose a game until the AFC title game, and he came in like the second game. He came in the second game. Didn't lose until they made the AFC title game. That's unbelievable. For a rookie. That is absolutely insane. And then that stretch from like you said, late 2000s, early 2010s. I mean, those teams that we had and the teams they beat, Big Ben would have like a broken ankle, a broken nose, and he'd be playing at Baltimore on Sunday Night Football and we would win. I mean, that's just unbelievable. The way
not to foreshadow anything, but I'm calling it right now at this very moment. That game against Baltimore, when it comes, again, we're weeks away, but I'm saying that game could very well be the game of the year for the NFL. If everything goes as well as it should, because again, the Steelers are doing everything right now, and the Baltimore Ravens have what they've got. Dude, I have no clue who I will go with because again, we have so many strengths. They have so many strengths. It's like, and again, kickers, like
they're very good.
Tucker, I mean, between Tucker and Boswell, and then it's like you look at all the names on the defenses, like I can name their defense, I can name our defense. Like it's certainly a very good thing to be a part of, especially when everything works. So, dude, this again, get ready for the second half because it's coming.
Yeah, right now my Super Bowl prediction would be the Ravens and the Lions. And I had some hope for the Bills. I don't know if they can make the Super Bowl, but I just don't think, man, like the Chiefs, unless there's some shady stuff going on, which is possible. It's the NFL. There's so much money involved. But I don't think they're going to go through a three-peat, man. Like, no. They're the Chiefs, as always, man, the Chiefs and the Chiefs fans will, totally hate me saying this if they're listening, but they're not that good. They weren't that good last year. Patrick Mahomes, man, he's a freak. He's an incredible athlete. You have him all the credit in the world. He's very similar to Lamar Jackson in the way he plays. He can do anything. Lamar Jackson is I hope he's a Hall of Famer, man, because he's such a good athlete. He is unbelievable. How good of an athlete he is unbelievable. He just plays quarterback,
Right.
So
Well, dude, I mean, we're
yeah.
talking about
So
an
if we
NFL right now that
yeah,
when you think of the AFC, like, yeah, the Chiefs are the standard because they have been there for the last 4 or 5 years straight. So ever since Patrick Mahomes has been in the league, that team has been in the conversation. And Travis Kelce, I mean, that's his guy. I mean, that's the tangent. Like, you look at like how everything's been successful. Andy Reid, one of the greatest coaches in the NFL of this century, maybe of all time, but certainly in this century, he has definitely put his name as one of the best coaches. There with Belichick, there with Tomlin. I mean, again, you look at all these guys. I mean, again, the team with like the Bills, like if we're staying in the AFC, I mean, it's like the Chiefs, the Ravens, maybe the Bills, and then I'll say us, and then the Texans. Like you're looking at a lot of teams right now. I mean, Texans, they had that one hiccup. I think they're still 5-1 or 6-1, something like that. Like they're an interesting team for sure. I mean, if guys like Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell, I mean, Joe Mixon, I very much like what he does as a running back. They have such good strengths. There's a lot of good teams in the AFC right now. I mean, you're talking about beating up on each other in each division. You're looking at probably a 9 or 10 win team could make it into the playoffs for the AFC. So if that's the case, dude, we are a playoff team for sure. Because like, if it only takes 9 or 10 wins to get into the playoffs, the NFC is very much different. Like the whole North could very well be the representatives in the NFC wild card because the Bears are fantastic with Caleb Williams. I don't know how much you kept up with it, dude, but his first game was a bad game. It was a win, but it was very ugly. It was one of the ugliest openers I've ever seen for a rookie quarterback ever. Dude had like maybe 80 yards thrown the whole game. Like, geez, that was a bad game. But ever since, they've been like, I think they're 4-2 or 5-2 right now. They play the Commanders this weekend. So it's like anything can happen right now. So they win that game. They're 5-2, and everyone in the NFC North, the Vikings, the Packers are so interesting. They truly are. I like what Jordan Love does. I think they've got great weapons with them. Matt LaFleur, their coach, like he's a great coach. And naturally, the Lions. Dude, they're my representatives to win the Super Bowl this year. I picked the Lions to win the Super Bowl this year because I like what Dan Campbell does. He is just such a dude and a good, honest coach. Like, I just like how he conducts himself at the podium. The man goes into like a crying fest every other week because he loves this game so much. He's so passionate about how he treats his teammates and everything. Like, it's such a great thing to see. And everyone kept writing Jared Goff off. Like, ever since he was with the Rams, they're like, this pipsqueak, could never do anything. And all of a sudden, he's turning into Drew Brees. The dude has like 4,000 or 5,000 yards a season. He is a fantastic slinger. And a guy like St. Brown.
He's got a great arm.
Yeah. Like, so, I mean, there's so many names for the Lions. Like, they're everything that works for them. It's a great setup. Dude, you think 4 or 5 years ago, the Lions, like they were always the joke of the NFL. Now they're their elite team. Now they're one of the teams that are respected. Like, it's so great to see shifts like this in the NFL for sure. So, dude, we're talking about many, many great situations. It's a good time in the NFL. Like, a lot of teams that you never really thought of between the Texans, potentially the Lions. I mean, it's like they're getting respect finally. Like, it's definitely a good time, and we're now a part of it. Like, we can say that. If this game, like last week, is an implication of anything going forward, dude, we are a part of this party. So
yeah, we have a chance if we can beat the AFC North, then we got a chance. But yeah, I like to see the Lions turn it around because they were always the bad team growing up. The Browns too, but the what did I say? The Lions were always the bad team growing up, always. And Dan Campbell was on that team that was 0-16